morning, everyone. I'm trying to be quiet for this video because my kids are sleeping in the other room, so I'm going to do the best that I can. So, two things. Today we're going to be talking about the R5C and how it performed for an 8-hour wedding, which to me is a good test of how a hybrid camera like this would work in situations that it's kind of made for. Not saying that this camera is made for weddings, but you would think that it would be a good performer for something like that. Before we get into that, I wanted to let you guys know I'm doing a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a Makey 1.7mm prime lens for the RF mount. So if you guys are looking for a cool, good quality manual prime lens, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll let you guys know in the near future how you can win something like that. If you don't really care about that and you just like watching videos about photo and video gear, then that's also a great reason to subscribe. Mainly in this channel I talk about Fuji and Canon gear, but right now I'm on a Canon kick with the Canon R5C, so there's a lot to this camera. It's an awesome camera, but it's definitely more to it than something like the R6 or the R5. Yeah, initially I thought I was going to be able to pick up this camera and just kind of be really familiar with it, because I did a shoot with the Canon R6 and R5 for a while. But the Canon Cinema operating system really kind of threw me off, so not so much now. I'm pretty familiar with it, but you know, that is something you can expect. If you are not familiar with that operating system, then there's going to be a lot to get used to. So a friend recently asked me to shoot a wedding with him, and you know, I said yes. And then after he sent me the details for the wedding, I started to think about my current setup and what I have. I have the Canon R5 and the Canon R5C. You know, ideally, you know, I could use a Canon R5 for something like that, because the autofocus is pretty amazing, and you know, for a fast-paced event like that, like a wedding where you're really just moving the whole time, it would be ideal to use a camera like the R5. But the one thing that stuck out to me in the detail sheet that my friend provided me was that the whole wedding day, the whole 8-hour wedding day, was going to be shot in 4K 60. So I knew that was going to be a guaranteed, you know, overheating issue for the Canon R5. Definitely didn't want to take a chance of overheating issues on a wedding day, so you know, I had to figure out how to make the Canon R5C work for this. So I started to think about some of the barriers that I would have using the R5C for an 8-hour wedding. So there were three main things that concerned me about using this camera. So first, the camera was still pretty new to me, which isn't a big issue. I just spent a lot of time getting to know the camera before the event. Second was the autofocus performance. I was a little bit nervous about how the autofocus would work in more so lower light environments. And then third, which was the biggest, was the battery issue. But the plus side for using the R5C for the wedding was that one, I had a ton of time to get to know the camera, and it really kind of expedited the process of familiarizing myself with the video menus and ideal layout for customization in regards to like the buttons and the dials. Another thing that was cool about the wedding was it was from 1 to 9, so and that was like indoors and outdoors that whole time, so it was nice to be able to test out this camera, especially the autofocus performance, in a wide variety of environments, both brightly lit and dimly lit. I had the opportunity to try to problem solve for the battery issues for this camera. You know, I have two power banks that I usually use with this camera, and I knew that the internal battery wasn't going to be too much of an option. You know, we did get a few more batteries just in case. The internal batteries definitely do not last long on this camera, and you know, it would have been a pain kind of you know, getting this on the gimbal and then having to take it off about 20 to 25 minutes later just to switch out a battery. You know, because in 4K 60 it's not really going to last too much longer than 25 minutes. I was a little bit nervous about storage needs. We did order a few more CF Express cards, but I only ended up using one of the rental CF Express cards. If you are doing XF AVC in long GOP, then you're going to be able to get a good amount of record time in 460. So those files are pretty small. And then also, if you have a newer system, or if you don't mind transcoding, then the H.265 files are a good option too. Okay, going back to the power solution for the camera. So I had two power banks. The problem I had to solve was, how am I going to move these power banks with the camera so that I can switch between handheld and gimbal use frequently and in a quick manner. In my case, small rig items came in handy for sure. So I have the Black Mamba cage on the Canon R5C, and I also have the small rig power bank clip that you can attach to like a cage or something like that. So what I did was, I had a power bank attached to my gimbal already, and then I had a small rig power bank clip attached to the Black Mamba cage. That made it really easy to just switch from gimbal to handheld video whenever I needed to. And the power banks lasted a long time. The primary power bank that I was using lasted about 6 hours, and then I just had to switch to the second one for the last 2 hours. So obviously that's not straight recording of 4K 60 the whole time I'm doing the wedding, but I had the camera on for the majority of the time for sure. An issue that I did run into during the wedding was that the gimbal, the original Ronin S that I was using, wasn't big enough for the R5C when combined with the 15 to 35, and then obviously the 70 to 200 if I wanted to run that on a gimbal. But it did fit my 50mm 1.2 lens. So I did see that they just came out with the Ronin RS3, which looks awesome, but I talked myself out of buying that, and so I'm just going to purchase some counterweights for the current gimbal that I have and hope that that works, so I can let you guys know if you are interested. Okay, so here are my initial thoughts of the camera after using it for an 8-hour wedding day. So overall, with some of the issues aside, like battery power, I think this camera is amazing. The image quality is insane. I really like having quick access to exposure monitoring tools like the false color and the waveforms, and then also, I set quick access to focus peaking as well, just to make sure that the autofocus was working correctly. While the Cinema OS menu system was initially daunting, I love being able to have all of the different customization features that they provide. I'm happy that the power banks worked out for powering the camera. The primary one that I was using was only $20 on Amazon. It might have gone up recently, but when I got it, it was only $20. I can link that below in case you are interested in purchasing that. I know there's a lot of people using power banks to power these R5C cameras. Don't know how safe it is, but so far, so good. For a lot of the handheld work, I ended up turning on digital stabilization, and I think it works really well, especially for static shots. So if you are in need to get some like stable footage and you don't have a gimbal or a tripod or anything like that, I think that the digital IS is a good solution. For this wedding, I didn't do any photo work, but I have used the photo side of this camera, and it works perfectly. It's just like the R5, so if you are familiar with the R6 or the R5, then you'll feel right at home. That's about it for this video. For upcoming videos, I can talk about stuff like camera customization, and autofocus performance for the R5C. I can also do a video on the digital image stabilization if you guys are interested. If you have anything else that you are curious about, let me know in the comments section below. And again, I will be giving away that Makey 50mm 1.7 prime lens. So I'm going to be announcing that in the near future. If you guys are interested, if you just want a free lens, then definitely subscribe and like this button and leave me a comment. I'll talk to you later.